It's not uncommon for urban neighborhoods in New York State to bear the brunt of environmental problems, and New York's capital region is no exception. Just blocks away from the state capital is the Port of Albany, an area known for its industrial activity with heavy truck traffic, freight trains, and noise. And right next to it is a small public housing complex called the Ezra Prentice Homes. The complex was built more than 50 years ago when the construction of the iconic Empire State Plaza forced the relocation of many families. Environmentalist Aaron Mayer, a former national president of the Sierra Club, says that it was clear at the time where people of color would end up compared to their white counterparts.
So we go back to the entire dislocation of the community around the Empire State Plaza. The very poor African American community that lived in that very hood, this is why Ezra Prentice exists. They actually built this place as a relocation of blacks in the wake of the building of the Empire State Plaza.
The potential danger of living in an industrial area is not a new issue. For years, residents have voiced concerns about the potential dangers of a freight train derailment right next to their homes. According to Aaron Mayer, the public housing community should never have been placed in an industrial part of the city, and he's not alone on that. Basil Segos is the commissioner of the State Department of Environmental Conservation.
I mean, this is a legacy environmental racism textbook example of it, where you're putting a housing authority, a housing complex right next to an industrial area. Can they coexist? I think that remains to be seen.
The DEC launched an air quality study at Ezra Prentice more than 3 years ago. A base was set up in one of the parking lots, and residents with backpacks would gather data. The results showed that trains that run just feet away from the homes actually were not the main contributor of pollution. Here's Segos again.
But was the street that literally went right through Ezra Prentice Homes and was subject to an enormous amount of truck traffic. That enabled us to use science to fix a policy problem.
A big change came from forcing trucks to take a different route away from the area. But on an average day, you can still find a number of large vehicles driving through, even if it is less frequent than in past years. And it's not just the pollution from those vehicles that bothers tenants. Residents say that traffic can be dangerous for children who have to cross the street to get to a nearby park, and that sometimes it feels like the people who live at Ezra Prentice are forgotten. Taria Alston is the vice president of the Tenants Association at the development.
So health effects wise, with the air pollution and the trucks traveling back and forth, I feel like over time, health issues as far as like cancer, asthma, and things like that. The noise issue is could cause like psychological, issues like that. I feel like more can be done, and I feel like change is realistic.
With no end in sight for the problems that face residents at Ezra Prentice, some want to wipe the slate clean and start over. One proposal would move the complex and its residents to a different part of the city. But Alston says that even if moving costs were covered for the tenants, relocating the development is more complicated than it sounds.
It's mixed reviews from the residents. Down here, it's fairly peaceful. You have had some issues, but it's fairly peaceful. It's very kid-friendly. So a lot of people do not want to move from down here because of that and because of the amenities that, this complex provides. However, there are some people that has strongly expressed that they would like to move.
Whether people live there or not, Segos, the DEC commissioner, says the air quality in the area should still be improved.
The incredible amount of investment that's going into the port, the new rules coming into effect that we will put into place here at DEC after the Climate Act is fully fulfilled, the work at the federal level now underway with President Biden, all of that will result in less emissions from transportation. And frankly, we're never going to hit our climate goals unless we reduce emissions from transportation. That will have an immediate benefit for anyone that's working or living near these types of facilities.
Environmentalist Aaron Mayer doesn't see another option for the health and well-being of those tenants than moving them to an area where air pollution and industrial activity won't affect their lives in such a big way.
I judge people not so much by their heroic actions that they may do in an instant. I judge it by the outcome and the results. If at the end of the day, the end result is that these people are still stuck here, All I can say is they failed. Government has failed these people.